But first, that big story that we are tracking today. Some big names in the IPL spot fixing and betting scandal have been revealed in the Supreme Court. They include key officials and players who participated in the tournament. Let's tell you what's happened today. The non-players' names have been revealed, including ICC chief N Srinivasan, his son-in-law, Gurunath Meiyappan, Raj Kundra of the Rajasthan Royals, Sundar Raman, the CEO of the IPL. All of them have been investigated, though their exact involvement in the whole scandal is still not clear. The names of these players of some cricketers have also come up, but the court, interestingly, has disallowed those names to be revealed and made public. The case now comes up for hearing again on the 24th of November, but the BCCI's AGM, where Mr. Srinivasan was hoping to be re-elected, has been now postponed. Shivani Gupta with our top story tonight.
The cat is finally out of the bag. As the world waited in anticipation, a few names cropped up in the Supreme Court in the IPL spot-fixing saga. Exiled BCCI President N Srinivasan was named. Former team principal of the Chennai Super Kings, Gurunath Meiyappan, named. Co-owner of the IPL franchise Rajasthan Royals, Raj Kundra, was named. And that's not all. The Chief Operating Officer of the Indian Premier League, Sundar Raman, also named.
और चार जो नाम है उसमें एक हीरो श्रीनिवासन, बाकी उसके तीन चमचे मयप्पन, सुंदर रमन और राज कुंद्रा. एक रैकेट है जिसको श्रीनिवासन लीड कर रहे हैं.
Made it absolutely clear that these names cannot be made public as their role in the whole controversy is still not clear. The names will be disclosed only if necessary, the court added. But it's the big man N Srinivasan who's come up for the most scathing attack.
अगर उस बीसीसीआई के मुखिया के खिलाफ में इस तरह की बातें जब आम पब्लिक के बीच में आ जाती है, फिर उस मुखिया को बचाने के लिए देश के बड़े बड़े विद्वान लॉयर लगे हुए हैं, इससे बड़ी शर्मनाक बात और कुछ नहीं हो सकती.
Meanwhile, the BCCI has postponed the dates of the board's next AGM, and now instead of the scheduled 20th of November, BCCI will hold the meeting after 4 weeks, clearly not willing to give up on its boss. The next hearing on the Mudgal panel's report will be held on the 24th of November. Expect a lot more, but more than that, expect the unexpected. N Srinivasan, Gurunath Meiyappan, Raj Kundra and Sundar Raman. These four could well be the protagonists of the entire IPL spot-fixing saga. While the charges against these four are not yet known or proved, one thing is clear, the rot goes right to the top. What's even more striking is that the BCCI has thrown its entire weight behind the man in the middle of the storm, N Srinivasan, postponing its AGM further by 4 weeks and holding the future of the entire body to ransom. With camera person Alok Das at the Supreme Court in New Delhi, Shivani Gupta for Headlines Today.
Okay, let's raise the big question then. Is it time for a complete revamp of the BCCI? That's the question I'm posing tonight. Is it time for a complete revamp of the BCCI? Joining me now on the panel in the studio, Nikhil Chopra, former Indian Test player, is joining me. I'm also joined by Shishir Hatangri, former Mumbai captain and someone who's worked closely with the IPL in the past. I'm also joined by Boria Majumdar, our consulting editor for sports, who's just written that authoritative biography of Sachin Tendulkar. And I'm also being joined by Rahul Raj Malik, lawyer in the Supreme Court. Lots of voices then, but I want to raise that big question. Time for a complete revamp of the BCCI. Before I ask that specifically, Rahul Raj Malik, I want to know, what did the Supreme Court mean today by revealing names but not telling the country what is the exact nature of the involvement of N Srinivasan, Gurunath Meiyappan and the other officials named? Is the Supreme Court hiding something from the country?
See, that is not for me to comment on. It's something which is sub judice. But there's a little different tangent which I would like to take the discussion on. You know, like everybody has been advocating BCCI to be doing its job very properly. But that's not true. Because now with the report which has come to light has shown that how like the practices within the BCCI are corrupt to what extent. Now the second point which I'm making, which probably has not been made before.
No, hold on. Again you're saying, I do not know.
Hold on one second. I'm making a point.
Yes.
I'm making that point. Hold on a second. Right. You see, the law-making power in the country vests with the union or with the state, or is in the concurrent list. So either the state legislature or the parliament can frame laws for the country. Now you see, BCCI in their memorandum of association says that we are the prime sole authority body to frame laws for cricket in India. I mean, like, the extent of illegality which is being committed every day when BCCI plays any role in this country as for the affairs of cricket has not been checked till now. How, I mean, like, what are the authority, what is the government doing then?
No, hold on, Mr. There are various points. Hold on. I want to know why has the court, let's be clear, Boria Majumdar, something very strange happened today in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said we will reveal the names of the officials who have been inquired and investigated into by the Mudgal report. But they didn't tell me what is the nature of their impropriety, if any at all. And then they chose not to reveal the name of the cricketers. Why should the cricketers' names not be revealed? I want to know what is this IPL disclosure exactly about. Shouldn't doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani, and let's all the names come out and tell us what is actually going on in the IPL.
Rajdeep, what I agree with you partly. Where I agree with you is obviously everything or everybody who is guilty should come out. So obviously the Supreme Court judges have been privy to that report. If they see misdemeanor on the part of any of the cricketers, their names should come out, and these wretched people should be absolutely hanged out in the open. As far as the 4 names are concerned, let's get to the brass tacks. Take Srinivasan first. 250 times over the last 250 days, Mr. Srinivasan has told us, I am not being investigated. Play the record, you will get that. He is being investigated, point number 1. Point number 2, the BCCI straight away jumps and says, AGM postponed by 4 weeks. Now, if this court case drags on, Rahul Raj Malik will tell us, it can. So suppose it drags on till next January, February, will there be no elections in the BCCI? Will the BCCI be a headless body? Perhaps yes. The fact of the matter is, are the board mandarins telling us that if Mr. Srinivasan cannot contest the election, there will be no election? Finally, and most importantly, anybody who is in the know of Indian cricket, I'm coming to a fundamental question, that's why this point, that is there a revamp necessary? Anybody who is in the know of Indian cricket will tell you that Mr. Srinivasan doesn't have a stranglehold. It's the BJP that has a stranglehold over the BCCI. Question is, does the BJP deem it necessary to cleanse Indian cricket? Yes or no? 13 of the 30 votes are being controlled by the BJP. Amit Shah, Arun Jaitley, Anurag Thakur, the list goes on and on and on. Are these people listening? Do they deem it fit that Indian cricket needs a cleansing at this point in time?
No, you're bringing in a political angle, which is an interesting aspect. You're saying that the BJP needs to step in, and the BJP politicians in a sense need to step in, including Arun Jaitley, including Amit Shah, if they want to clean up cricket. But Nikhil Chopra, is this about politics?
Of course.
Is this at one level about the BJP?
It was always about politics.
Yeah, but the fact is...
It was always about politics.
I want to know, I still come back to the core question. I still don't know, at the end of today, what is the involvement of Mr. N Srinivasan in this entire IPL fixing? Because once I know that, then we can talk about whether Chennai Super Kings should be in the IPL or not. Then we can talk whether Rajasthan Royals, of whom Raj Kundra is being investigated, should be in the IPL or not. Is it time now for all this to come out in the open? How long are we going to wait? Well, we've got a tour going to Australia, and we've got the possibility of some cricketers whose names are not coming out.
And this is, the World Cup's around the corner as well. And most importantly, like you said, if everything comes out in the open, that's how you're going to start restoring credibility back into the game. Because now at this moment in time, every kid in the street and corner, anything out of the ordinary happens, there's a doubt, there's the suspicion. Is there something wrong in this particular game? So, like you said, in the context, if there are any players involved, let their names be taken, but in what context? Are they being investigated for spot fixing? If yes, then of course.
No, hold on. The Mudgal report was very specific into the issue of spot fixing. That's what they were looking at. Now, as Boria is suggesting, what is clear is that these individuals have been questioned. Now, we don't know what has come out of the questioning. We are presuming at the moment that there is some level of impropriety. Are we saying that the cricketers who have been investigated, should their names not be coming out? Why is the Supreme Court, I would ask, protecting the cricketers? Why only the officials?
Well, at this moment in time, this is all speculation, Rajdeep. You and I are talking about Were they investigated? What was their role in terms of this investigation that is taking place, in terms of were there witnesses to something out of the ordinary that Mudgal committee asked these players to come out? So maybe in that regard the Honorable Supreme Court is holding or withholding those names. But if any player is involved in spot fixing, I'm with you 100%. Like you said, doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani, it has to come out.
You know, it has to come out. But the one person, Shishir Hatangdi, who's right at in a sense, in the eye of the storm is Srinivasan. He is the ICC president. He wanted to contest next month the BCCI, or later this month, the BCCI presidentship. He's being investigated. He's under the scanner. Can someone like that remain ICC president after what the Supreme Court has said today? Shouldn't Caesar's wife be above suspicion?
You just took the words out of my mouth, and these 4 names that have been revealed by the Supreme Court are not an invitation to a tea party, Rajdeep. This is obviously because they have some documentation, some information. I mean, this Mudgal Commission report could be pretty much conclusive in terms of what they're trying to say and the message they're trying to give out to the Supreme Court. So let's not beat around the bush on this. You know, the apex court doesn't reveal names or tell people that these 4 names.
Should Srinivasan step aside? Should Srinivasan say, till my name is cleared by the Supreme Court, till there is this even an iota of doubt whether what my nature of my relationship was with Mr. Meiyappan was, whether there was conflict of interest in the fact that Chennai Super Kings is owned by a company which I control. Should he step aside till all these issues are settled? Should Mr. Srinivasan be hanging on to his chair, or should he step aside? Straight answer.
He's not Caesar's wife, but he's certainly Caesar's father-in-law, so he should step aside. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? I mean, we've been talking about it for a long time. If you have the belief that you have done nothing wrong, then obviously you'll be reinstated when the time comes, if not involved. But at the moment, I think the best thing in the interest of Indian cricket is everybody and anybody who's under suspicion should just step aside, and whoever the names are,
yes,
they should come out if the court believes they have enough evidence for about them and for them.
Let's look at that, Boria Majumdar. Is it about Srinivasan? Has this now come down to N Srinivasan because he's the most powerful man in world cricket, or is this about the way the BCCI is run, one of the most unaccountable sports bodies in the world, which cannot come under the RTI's purview, which doesn't have transparent elections to its for its office bearers, which is replete with conflict of interest? Is it about BCCI or is it about N Srinivasan? Because I'm now told Sharad Pawar wants to contest for board president.
It's about both. It's not only about Srinivasan or only about the BCCI. I mean, we are saying, should Srinivasan step aside? Of course he should. Without a doubt he should. But both of us are kidding ourselves if we think he will. But the fact of the matter is, what about the 30 other members? Why are they sitting quietly? Do they have any moral conscience left? Is it a question of propriety? Is it a question of culpability? Is it a question of, I use the word propriety, feeling disappointed and upset and sad and frustrated. What about the 30 other board members? So it's also about the BCCI as much about Mr. Srinivasan.
So you're saying, hold on, Boria, you're saying, sorry to interrupt, you're saying the likes, and I'll come back to it, you're saying this board of cricket for control in India includes the likes of a Farooq Abdullah, includes the likes of a Sharad Pawar, includes the like of an Amit Shah. Amit Shah is supposed to be the second most powerful person in the country after Narendra Modi. You're saying if they have any real concern for cricket, they should be ringing up Mr. Srinivasan tomorrow morning and saying, step aside, sir, till such time as the Supreme Court clears your name. That's what you're saying.
I'm not saying they need to ring. I'm saying they need to convene the AGM and take the decision which is in favor of Indian cricket. It's as simple as that. Why do you have to ring anybody? Mr. Srinivasan legally, at least at this point in time, is president in exile. He has stepped aside. Leave alone the point that he's controlling.
He's still ICC president.
That's not for us to decide.
He's still ICC president. Controls the BCCI by proxy.
That's what I'm saying. That at least, at this point in time, legally he's not controlling the board. By proxy he is. But these people, they don't need to ask Mr. Srinivasan, why is the AGM being postponed? For who? For one man? If this case continues till January, are you trying to tell me, or are these people trying to tell us that the BCCI will be headless? If Mr. Srinivasan doesn't contest, there will be no president. I mean, of course, Amit Shah is supposed to be vice president.
Right.
Sharad Pawar, potential candidate. Farooq Abdullah, Anurag Thakur. These are senior politicians controlling Indian cricket.
But
if it is about Indian cricket, I think it is time for these people to step up.
you know, but the fact is, Mr. Malik, the Supreme Court, when it was asked this question about the postponement of the BCCI elections, says that is not our issue. The BCCI is a private body. So is the Supreme Court also serious really about revamping the BCCI? Can the Supreme Court do it? Or is it going to be left to the likes of Sharad Pawar, Amit Shah? Because they're all ultimately benefiting from that organization. It's like a private club.
I don't know they're benefiting or not. Let's not make this political at the first place. And the second thing is, see, Supreme Court is limited to the prayer which has been sought for in that particular PIL, right? Or the petition, which has, whatever has been filed.
Yes.
So Supreme Court would not go beyond that. And then they have to see how serious are the allegations vis-a-vis other people are concerned. Only then they would release the name. They have to see what deems fit, right? So they they might have seen that the evidence against these three people whose names have been now made public is quite clinching.
No,
right?
but am I to presume?
Why,
no, hold on.
Mr.
Malik, tell me, from a legal perspective, the fact that these names have come out, does that mean that there is clinching evidence? Does that mean they have committed an impropriety? Are you convinced about that? Is naming them enough?
Well, if the Supreme Court is of the opinion that they have made these names public, I don't know how they made it. I don't know what was the conduct of making it public. But if you say they have made it public, certainly there would be a the evidence would be extremely clinching against these people, and they would certainly be Justice Mudgal's committee must have examined witnesses, must have followed the procedure of law to come to a conclusion of the sort.
Mr. Malik, hold on to your thought. Hold on to your thought. Nikhil Chopra, am I now coming back to the conclusion that we are entering very murky area, where the president of the ICC, the proxy head of the BCCI is under the scanner, where the IPL CEO is under the scanner, where the owner of the Rajasthan Royals team is under the scanner, where the Chennai Super Kings franchisee owner in a sense is under the scanner. Where does that leave the IPL? Where does that leave Indian cricket?
Well, like you said, let me answer your first question. If all these people that you just named, Rajdeep, are found guilty in the apex court,
forget guilty. If there is impropriety, the fact that Srinivasan said he didn't know what Mr. Meiyappan was up to, the fact that it was suggested that Mr. Meiyappan was only a cricket fan and was only a cricket enthusiast.
At the end of the day, it's time that you start looking to revamp, because don't forget, it is the fans that have made cricket very popular, and you want that credibility restored. That is very important. You know, you talk about money coming into the board. How's that money? Because the sport has become so popular, this sport has given us legends, you know, international players. Look, you named Sachin Tendulkar, Kapil Dev, Sunil Gavaskar, all these guys. Why? Because you got that fan base. Now, to get that credibility back, that support system back into the BCCI, it's important that you must have good enough heads right at the top.
You know, but the question, and I'm going to ask you this, Shishir, as someone who's been involved in the IPL, under the rules of the IPL, the Chennai Super Kings should not be playing the IPL if any one of their officials is found to be involved in conduct which brings disrepute to the game. Mr. Meiyappan's name comes there. Same with the Rajasthan Royals and Mr. Kundra. Should these two teams, at least for now, be under suspension till such time as this matter is heard?
Of course should be.
It's in black and white, isn't it? That clause 11.3c is drafted by the gentleman sitting in the corridors of power. It's not you and I who drafted those laws. So the laws very clearly suggest, and obviously the laws have been created because somebody suspected that this could have happened. I mean, they wouldn't have come out of thin air, these laws. Right. And obviously, when you've created some laws, some rules, then it's time you take action and adhere to whatever you've put down on paper, isn't it? I mean, it's as simple as that. Okay. It doesn't require an Einstein to realize that if you've broken the rules, you've got to go. And if you've got to go, it's because you flouted the rules.
Well, unfortunately, there are no Einsteins in our board of cricket for control in India. Only people who, in a sense, are advertisements for Fevicol. They will not leave the chair that easily, I'm afraid. Nikhil Chopra, Boria Majumdar, Mr. Malik, and Shishir Hatangdi, appreciate your joining us here on our top talking point. Where do we stand? My take.